You're welcome back. It's time for business, and we're still talking about the Bank of Ghana's revocation of some, the licenses of some financial institutions. Sandra Fenu has more on that.
All right, thank you, Araba. And I'm sure you've seen, you've heard, and now you know that the banking sector crisis continues. Today, the regulator, Bank of Ghana, revoked the license of GN Savings and Loans and 22 other insolvent banks. The Bank of Ghana says it has assessed these institutions and has realized they were not responsible. They didn't have any responsible prospect of recovery, and their continuous existence poses severe risk to the stability of the financial system and their depositors. Here are excerpts of the statement issued earlier today by the Bank of Ghana, and it says the Bank of Ghana has, with effect from today, revoked the licenses of 23 insolvent savings and loans companies and finance house companies. These actions were taken pursuant to Section 123, Clause 1 of the Bank of Ghana's Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act 2016, Act 9330, which requires the Bank of Ghana to revoke the license of a bank or specialized deposit-taking institution where the Bank of Ghana determines that the institution is insolvent. The Bank of Ghana has also appointed Mr. Eric Nipa as a receiver for the specified institutions in line with Section 1232 of Act 930. The revocation of the license of these institutions has become necessary, according to the Bank of Ghana, because they're insolvent even after a reasonable period within which the Bank of Ghana has engaged with them in the hope that they would be recapitalized by their shareholders to return them to solvency. The Bank of Ghana says that its assessment has indicated that there's no reasonable prospect of recovery, and their continued existence poses severe risk to the stability of the financial system and to the interest of their depositors. It added that in line with the government's commitment to protect depositors' funds, the government has made funds available to enable the receiver pay depositors after their claims are validated. The receiver will in due course make an announcement with regards to when and where payments will be made. The receiver will also indicate documents required from depositors to facilitate the validation of claims and orderly payments of validated deposits. Other creditors of the failed institutions will be selected by the receiver upon validation of their claims, and to the extent that the receiver is able to realize value from the remaining assets of these institutions. The statement also added that the Bank of Ghana has also, with effect from today, revoked the licenses of two non-financial institutions, namely Express Fund International Limited and the Ghana Leasing Company Limited, which are insolvent and have been inactive for a number of years. The action is in pursuant to Section 7 of the Non-Bank Financial Institution Act 2018, which mandates the Bank of Ghana to revoke the license of a non-bank financial institutions licensed under the Act that the institutions, among other things, ceases to carry out business. The Bank of Ghana has also notified the registrar of the company for the revocation of these two licenses and requested that the registrar commences winding up proceedings against these companies under the body's corporate. So that was actually the statement from the Bank of Ghana. But now let's take a look at the 23 affected institutions. So we have Ascent Financial Services Limited, Adum Savings and Loans Limited, All Time Finance Limited, Alpha Capital Savings and Loans Limited, ASN Financial Services Limited, CDA Savings and Loans and Limited, Commerce Savings and Loans Limited, Crest Finance House Limited, Dream Finance Company Limited, Express Savings and Loans Company Limited, First Africa Savings and Loans Company Limited, First Allied Savings and Loans Company Limited, First Ghana Savings and Loans Company Limited, First Trust Savings and Loans Company Limited, Global Access Savings and Loans Company Limited, GN Savings and Loans, Ideal Finance Limited, IFS Finance Service Limited, Legacy Capital Savings and Loans Limited, Midland Savings and Loans Limited, and Women's World Banking Service and Loans Company Limited. So earlier we spoke to the Executive Secretary of the Savings and Loans Association, Chinibwa Kodria, who was upbeat. Pruning the sector was necessary here. He, however, cautioned the regulator to be cautious with the approach.
Information from the regulator that CBG is doing very well. So it gives us the indication that the CBG model is a good alternative, a better alternative as compared to just liquidating everybody, take the lines everybody and tell everybody go to the receiver. That one, you are killing people and you are restricting people's access to having financial services. And we believe that after these things, the sector is going to be better and better and go beyond what we have seen. There are some institutions who have even going technology, and which is helping them rope in a lot of people, engaging clients far better than it used to be.
After these actions and whatever, what will be the way forward for the sector that we can position ourselves as a very strong sector and help its contribution to the economy? What do you think should be the way forward?
Going forward, what we expect is that the central bank will have an enhanced collaboration with the industry. Those who create problems, we sometimes use those people to also correct those problems. And so let us come together more than we used to be and continue to dialogue. The other thing is that I'm expecting the operators who will be left to do more customer engagement and then draw the customers closer to them and develop products and services that serve more of the needs of the customers. The next thing has to do with risk management framework. The risk management that they have started developing, we will want to see them implementing them more.
All right, so Managing Director of the Republic Bank, Farid Anstar, is equally in support of the cleanup, adding it will restore confidence in the sector.
Well, again, I think it's a follow-through on what was done with the banks. The savings and loans, I think, was even a more challenging situation at the banks. The finance, well,
We want to stay a little longer on this development, and Charles Mensah is a financial analyst and he joins us by the phone. Thanks so much for your time, Mr. Mensah. We have 37 savings and loans companies, and 16 of them, their licenses have been revoked. That's almost half of the total number. What does this really mean?
Good evening, and thanks for having me. I think it's a start.
Hello, Mr. Mensah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, I was saying that we have 37 in total savings and loans companies, and 16 of them, their licenses have been revoked. What does this really mean for the sector?
It's a major blow to the sector. It's a major blow to the SME companies, because these savings and loans banks are the same people who are supporting the SME sector. They are able to speak to them and lend them between 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Now, revoking their licenses because they are insolvent, which means that they couldn't meet their debt as and when they fall due. One would have thought that because they are playing part in the financial inclusion, and you are also bailing them out in a way because you are asking depositors to come for their money, which means that the government is supporting Bank of Ghana to pay all the depositors who have paid or who have money locked up in those banks. Now, if that is the case, then the least we could have done was to have transferred all the loans into a vehicle so that most of these banks will be free. And then you can help them with management and credit management systems. Because these savings and loans target SMEs, and these are indigenous businesses. I don't know which of the mainstream banks, they all preach about SMEs. But if you look at the loan portfolio, nothing seriously go to the SMEs. It's the savings and loans bank that are supported. I'm in that sector. I do consultancy for most SMEs, and I know what they do. It's an unfortunate situation. It's an unfortunate situation. The good thing is that depositors are protected. But we should look at the other side of it. What happens to the individual companies that had a credit system with the savings and loans bank that they are working with? Overnight, that is killed. So are they going to start a fresh state, or would they have a certain system where these SMEs who had a loan facility will be protected, or they'll still have their business? It's a very hard situation like that.
But the names that came up today was quite shocking. The likes of GN Savings and Loans. We have, how do you call it, Ideal Finance, the CDH, Unique Credit and all that, and the Women's World Banking. Did it come to you as a surprise?
Women's World Banking came to me as a surprise because this is a bank that started way back in 1982. They've been very supportive in helping our dear mothers and our dear sisters. And they've been graduating. Now, if there's a challenge, I feel that we should be able to go in there and solve the problems. We've had this situation before where we had the non-performing asset trust. So most of the non-performing loans were transferred to the non-performing asset trust.
Right.
And the bank survived. So the same thing could have been done.
All right, that's all for business for now with me, Sandra Esinam. I'll be back after 8 p.m. with more business news.